Hi guys, today we are going to read chapters 3 and 4 in our new book, Hank Zipzer by Henry Winkler and Lynn Oliver. Remember yesterday, the Magic 3 Club, they want to go and make some money at one of the boys' aunt's house, and their neighbor wants to come along, and he just convinced them to do so. Chapter 3. When I pointed out to Frankie and Ashley that they wouldn't have to sit next to Emily either, they agreed to let Robert go. Robert's a younger boy. No one wants to get stuck next to my sister for 2 hours in a back seat. It's not like she smells bad or anything. It's just that she talks all the time about weird stuff. The mating habits of iguanas is a favorite topic of hers. Okay, Robert, you can come, I said. These words did not pop easily out of my mouth. Robert jumped up and shook his bony butt in a victory dance, which is something I hope you never have to see. I told my aunt I'd let her know tomorrow if we can do the show, I said. So check with your parents to see if Saturday and Sunday are okay. Remember, she lives far away in Long Island, so they're going to have to stay overnight. Wait, Frankie said. Zip, did you mean to say the party is this Saturday? Yeah, is that a problem? Not a problem, said Frankie. A tragedy. Make that a catastrophe. What's wrong? I didn't like the look on Frankie's face. This Saturday is the Monster Movie Marathon on Channel 48. All monsters all the time. These twins are how old? 3. That's bad. We all remember the 3-year-old birthday party drill, right? 12:30 pizza, 1 o'clock magic show, 1:30 piñata, 2 o'clock cake and ice cream, 2:30 party favors, 2:35 balloons tied around a kid's wrist, 2:45 pickup, and parents, please be prompt. That means come on time to pick up your children. What are you, a walking invitation, I said? Hear me, Zip. Frankie suddenly looked very serious. That schedule puts the magic show smack in the middle of the Mutant Moth at 8 Toledo, starring Vic Avalanche. I've been waiting to see that movie since the day I was born, before even. I think Frankie's a little dramatic. Frankie, are you saying you would turn down a career opportunity for a silly monster movie? Ashley asked. I didn't hear that, Ashley, Frankie said. I can't believe that you, of all people, would call the Mutant Moth at 8 Toledo a silly movie. It's an underground classic, above ground too. I'm sorry, guys, I just can't go. Frankie, I said, sitting down on a cardboard box that was filled with our neighbor's Mrs. Fink's extra bathrobes, I just want you to know this. When I was on the phone with my Aunt Maxine and she told the twins that we might come and perform at their party, I heard them in the background. They weren't just yelling and screaming with excitement, they were crazed with happiness. They were jumping up and down on their pudgy little legs, and one of them, Zach, I think, even threw himself on the hardwood floors. I heard the thud. But if you think a monster movie is more important than bringing that kind of joy into their little lives, then I think you should call them and tell them. So he's making him feel guilty. Frankie was chewing on his bottom lip, like he does when he's got to make a hard decision. I knew how much he loved monster movies, but I also knew how much I wanted Magic 3 to get this job. I have to admit, I can be pretty convincing when I want to be. But Zip, he said, this is the original Mutant Moth movie, the one that started them all. I'm seeing the twins, I said. I'm seeing their little smiling faces looking up at us on their special day. You so good, they yell. We could always tape the movie, Ashley said. Of course. Where were my brains? I wish I had thought of that solution. Our VCR is busted, Frankie said, and my dad doesn't want to fix it because he thinks we watch too much TV anyways. Okay then, here's the plan, I said, lowering my voice to almost a whisper. We'll bring our own blank tape to my aunt's house. My Uncle Gary has an incredible video equipment and an awesome TV room. We'll tape the movie there, and right after the party, we'll watch. Sounds like a fair compromise. The mutant moth that ate Toledo on his big screen TV. No commercials, no interruptions, no parents hanging around. How great does that sound? Personally, I can't wait. Frankie thought about it for a minute. I need your solemn promise that we will tape the film and watch it right after the magic show, Zip. Nothing can come between me and that movie. We put our hands on top of one another. Frankie tried to sneak his hand in there too. We let him. Like I said before, we're not totally cold-hearted. A promise made is a promise kept, we all said at once. I like that. Okay, then I'll go, said Frankie. Yay, I hollered. Hank, don't even try, Frankie said. The word is zingwagi. Whatever, I said. Here's to Magic 3 and our next paying performance. Okay, so they are going to go to Long Island to watch to perform the magic show, and they make $10 each. So they'll get $30. So now we do chapter 4. That night, we all checked with our parents. Frankie's mom and dad said if he straightened up his room, he could go. Ashley's mom and dad said okay too. They're both doctors, and they had a conference they were supposed to go to, and Ashley was going to stay with her grandmother anyway. Works out well for her. I hope their conference was on how to give booster shots that don't hurt, because I think doctors could use a conference about that. Robert checked with his mom, and unfortunately she said she'd be thrilled to have him go with us. I don't blame her. If Robert were my kid and somebody said, I'll take this walking encyclopedia off your hands for a day, boy, I'd jump at the chance. So we must talk a lot at home too. Oddly enough, it was my parents who were the problem. I know you and Aunt Maxine discussed you performing at the party, my mom said, but your schoolwork comes first. But Mom, I already told my friends it was a done deal. Let's go look at the chart and see if you can afford the time away this weekend. So you must have like a chore chart. I have a chart in my room that says what all my assignments are and when they're due. I didn't always have this chart. We just put it up a couple of weeks ago when I found out that I had learning challenges. It's not like I'm not smart. It's just that certain things are really hard for me, like almost everything you learn in school. My dad had always thought I was lazy. The principal of the school, Leland Love, said I wasn't living up to my potential, which essentially means he's not working as hard as he should. My teacher, Mrs. Adolph, said I wasn't focusing on my responsibilities. She also gave me 4 D's on my report card. Wow, that really embarrassed me. Poor guy. Then this nice woman who works at our school, Dr. Lynn Berger, gave me a bunch of tests that showed I'm not lazy. I just learn differently, as many students do. One of the things she suggested is for me to have a chart in my room that reminds me of everything I have to do in school. That way I won't forget my assignments and I will focus better. It helps them organize. We went into my bedroom and looked at the chart. In the square for Monday, I had written the word science project in red letters. Our actual projects weren't due for 3 weeks, but by Monday we had to pick out our topic and say why we picked it. I didn't have a clue of what I was going to do. Why don't you ask Emily for ideas, my mother suggested. She's excellent in science. Not what a sibling likes to hear. My sister Emily is 9 annoying years old. Sometimes I think she's really an alien being. There's no other way to explain her behavior. Like, she polishes her fingernails in 10 different colors. That means one color for each nail. And listen to this. She sleeps with her eyes open. I'm not kidding. She rolls her eyes in the back of her head, and all you see is the white part. That's a little creepy. If I asked Emily, I already know what she'll say. She'll tell me to write about reptiles. Emily loves everything that's cold-blooded. If it's ugly and has scales, you can count her in. What's wrong with reptiles? Said a voice from behind me. It was none other than the lizard girl herself, with Catherine, her pet iguana, wrapped around her neck like a scarf. Yuck. Reptiles shed their own skin, I said. How can you love something that walks right out of its own skin and leaves it on the ground for other people to crunch on? See, he is smart. Hank, you are so narrow-minded, Emily said. At least I don't bite my toenails, I shot back. Stop it, you two, my mom said, holding up her hand, or we're not going away for the weekend at all. We're talking about going to Uncle Gary and Aunt Maxine's for the twins' birthday, my mom answered. We can't do that, Emily said. What will we do with Catherine? You know she gets car sick, so apparently the iguana's coming to Long Island. One time we took Catherine on a trip and she coughed up her lunch. She must have had grapes for dessert because I'm sure I saw a whole green grape there on the back seat. Dad, Emily screamed. We need you in here right away. I am calling a family meeting. Family meetings in our house are not as good as they sound. My mom calls them to remind us not to leave our wet towels on the carpet after we take a shower. My dad calls them to yell at us when we have to pay late fees for rented videotapes. Emily calls them just to whine. I never call them. Why call for a meeting you don't want to attend in the first place? He's very funny. My father walked into my bedroom, still holding the newspaper folded to the crossword puzzle. He's a crossword puzzle fanatic and proud of it. That means he likes to do them a lot. And he must be very smart because they're difficult. I'm in a very good mood, he said. You're looking at the man who just solved today's crossword in 6 minutes and 11 seconds. A personal best. Congratulations, Dad, I said. Thank you, Hank. Now what's the problem, Emily? I'm in a problem-solving mood. Mom says we're making plans to go away for the weekend. No one has made plans for Catherine. Is she not a member of the family? I vote no, I said immediately. She can't stay here alone, Emily whined. She's afraid of the dark. Maybe Papa Peter can look after the beast, I suggested. Papa Pete is my grandpa and the single best human being in the whole world. Very sweet. Catherine is not a beast, Emily said. I was referring to you, I said. That's enough, Hank, my mom said. Besides, Papa Pete can't look after Catherine. He's staying out in West Hampton for a couple of days. He wouldn't miss the twins' birthday. He's their grandfather, too. Kids don't always think of everything. What did we do with the animals when we went to Niagara Falls last summer, my dad asked. We left Cheerio with Mrs. Fink next door, I said. Cheerio is our big dachshund dog. We call him that because he's always chasing his tail, and when he spins around in a circle, he looks like a Cheerio. That's funny. I'll bet Mrs. Fink would watch him again. They really bonded. That means they really got close. Catherine stayed at the pet store, Emily said. George took care of her. You remember George, Dad, I said. The pet store guy who looks like a gerbil. He does not, Emily said. He just has a very furry beard. That starts at his eyebrows, I said. Emily, why don't you find the phone number of the pet store, Dad suggested. It's Pets for You and Me, Mom said. The number is on the wall by the kitchen phone. Yeah, that's funny. That's where my mom used to leave the numbers we needed. Call and find out how much it would cost to keep Catherine there overnight, Dad suggested. Does this mean we're going? I asked my mom. I'll work on my science project in West Hampton. I promise. Somehow I don't think he's telling her about the movie. My mom thought for a moment. Okay, we'll go. Mom, you're the greatest, I said, giving her a big hug. It's about time you realized that, she said, hugging me back. Okay, so they have a plan. They're going to go to West Hampton. They're going to do the magic show for the twins' birthday. All the kids' parents said yes. They have a problem looming, is who's going to take care of Emily's pets. And we will find that out in Chapter 5 tomorrow.